So, first thing we taught you was that if it starts with an x equals, then it's going to be a left to right. And if it starts with a y equals, it's going to be an up and down. And then the sign in front of the fraction is going to tell you whether it's opening left or opening right. So x means left or right, and since it's negative, it's going to open left. That's P. So that you can visualize what this is going to look like. Okay? So first thing you need to do is you need to get the vertex. Remember that when we're talking about left and right, we have to do the opposite, because this is our y value, our y minus 1 that's inside the parentheses. That's actually the k value. So the h is the x, which is outside of the parentheses. So our vertex for this one is going to be 0, 1. Okay? Inside the parentheses is opposite, outside is still exact, but now it's kind of switched. So instead of the x inside, which would normally be the h value, now we have the y inside, which is the k value. So if I plot my 0, 1, this is my vertex. Okay? 0, 1. Now, the next thing you have to do is you have to figure out how many spaces away is the focus and how many spaces away is the director. Remember that the focus is going to be inside your parabola and the directrix is going to be behind your parabola. So we have to figure out how many spaces away they are so that we can figure out where they are. Well, our P value tells us how many spaces away. So remember that the general equation says 1 over 4P. So you have to set your denominator equal to 4P so that you can figure out what P is equal to. And in this case, P is equal to 1, which means that my directrix is one space behind the vertex, and my focus is one space in front of the vertex, or inside the vertex. And remember, this is opening to the left, so that means that this point right here is my focus, and the point behind would be my directrix. So now we just want the equations and the point for that. So the focus point, which is right there, is the point -1, 1. The directrix is a line, and notice that it's a vertical line, so it's the equation x equals to 1. Okay? Now, at some point we have to come up with other points on our parabola. So here's where our calculator is going to come in. We're going to go to our calculator, and we're going to type this in exactly the way that we see it. And what you have to do is, since this is opening left and right, you have to replace the x and the y. So where the y is, we are going to put an x, and where the x is, we are going to put a y. So this is what our equation looks like with a y typically, but we're going to put an x. Now this is going to allow us to hit our table and come up with our table values. Now, we don't, because we switched the letters to begin with, we have to switch the letters when we go to write them in our table. So, for instance, this point right here says x is 1 and y is 0. When we write it on our table, or when we plot the point on our picture in the homework, we want to say that the point is 0, 1. So I am going to plot 0, 1, which is our vertex. So that's good. That's on our graph. So let's come up with another whole number. So here we have 3 and -1, which when we plot it would become -1, 3. That would be right there. Okay. And then we have, let's go up and do, we have -4, 5. Again, remember you're going backwards. So -4, 5. Now we need to do some that are below. So let's go back here. Notice that we have -1, -1. And if we do another one in that direction, let's go -4, -3. Remember to reverse them. So -4, -3. Now, this will allow us to connect the dots of our parabola that should be opening sideways and it's opening to the left. I'm going to erase that little arrow that I did to show you the directrix. Okay. So this is how your parabola should look. Now the axis of symmetry, remember, is make it symmetrical. So now it's a horizontal line. So instead of x equals, it's going to be y equals, and it's equal to 1. Y equals 1. All right, number 2. Number 2 has us going the other direction. So this y means that it's going to open up or down, and the minus means that it's going to open down. Okay, so it's either up or down, and because it's minus, it's going to be down. So our vertexes, these are ones we're used to seeing. So our vertex is -6, -1. So I'm going to go ahead and plot that. That's our vertex. Okay. Now we have to find our p-value to be able to figure out how far away the focus and the directrix is. So we're going to take 4p and we're going to set it equal to 16, which makes my p-value equal to 4. So 4 units behind and 4 units in front is where our focus and directrix is. Now, because this is opening down, this is going to be our focus, and that makes this our directrix. So our focus point is at -6, -5, and our directrix is a horizontal line, so that's going to start out with y equals, and it's at y equals 3. Okay, so then we have to go to our calculator to figure out some other points that are on that particular graph. So I'm going to go ahead and take this table off. I'm going to hit the tab key and I'm going to change this. And it's going to read -1/16 times x plus 6 squared. Enter. And if I bring the table up, now because we typed this in correctly, it's just going to be normal points. Okay, you don't have to change those and flip them because you didn't flip the letters. So -2 is a point. And if I go back, I have 2 -5, which I don't really want because that's over, if you look and you go to plot it, if you go to plot it, 2 -5 is over here. I want one that's over here, so I want to see what -10 is going to give me. So I'm going to go backwards. So it's -6, -1, which is our vertex, so we already have that one. So let's go to the other side. The vertex would be -10, -2. So -10, -2. Okay, so this is how my parabola should open, which I knew it was going to open down. This makes that my focus. And so my axis of symmetry, remember, is this time going to be a vertical line, and it's going to be at x equals -6. All right, the last problem, you have to figure out the equation based on the information that they gave us. So the first thing you'll want to do is you'll want to plot your focus. Okay, your focus is at 5, 3, and your directrix is at x equals -1. X equals means that that is a vertical line. So what this is going to tell you, because this is a vertical line and our focus is over here, this thing has to open to the right. So it has to open right. And that's because it can't go up or down or it'll get in the way of the directrix. It can't go left or it'll get away in the directrix. So it has to open to the right. So that means that my vertex is going to be the midpoint of this, in between here and there. So if I count, that's 6 spaces, which means I need to cut that in half, and I know that my vertex is going to be right there. It's halfway in between the directrix and the focus. So my vertex is going to be at 2, 3. Okay? So this is going to look like this. That's what it's going to look like. Now, in order for me to get the equation, I just need to know what my p-value was. Remember, p in here is going to mean how far away that was. So my p-value was 3 units. So when I go to write my equation, it opens to the right, which means it's positive. I'm going to do 1 divided by 4 times p. Remember that it's 1 over 4p, and if p is equal to 3, then this is going to be 1 over 12. And it's going to be x minus 2, that's my x coordinate of my vertex, and we're going to do the opposite, squared, and then